Good evening, friends. Sorry for the delay. Actually, yesterday we were discussing regarding the basics of Rashastra, and in continuation of it, today again we are going to cover some of the topics which are related to the basics of Rasashastra. So, this basic or the Rashastra is termed as the Indian alchemy or alchemy. So, the word alchemy is derived from a German word or a Greek word which is known as chemia. Chemia means the transmutation of the lower metals or the precise metals into the precious metals. But in some of the context, we can get the reference of the alchemy as it is derived from the Sanskrit word kim idam or kim iyam. So actually, again, it's a holistic science which really created an astonishment in the people. Means the people saw that the acharyas are transmuting or they are converting the lower elements into the higher elements like gold. So they were astonished and they asked, Kim idam, what is this? What science is this? Then it ventured into Kim iyam. And when this science it was transferred to the Arab countries, they added the prefix as alchemia or alchemium. So you have seen that the prefix al is used by the Arabian countries to indicate the holiness. Hence, the name alchemy came into existence. Then, so we can divide this Rashastra into three parts. One is the Vedic period, Samhitas period, and post Samhita period. So during Vedic period, we can get many references regarding this use of the metals and minerals in Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvana Veda, and also in the Upanishads also. So, when we are studying regarding the Ashwini Kumaras, we get the reference that there was a king known as Vishfala who lost his leg in the war, and these Ashwini Kumaras they created a prosthetic, means a leg was created by them with the help of iron, and it was again used for surgery. So you have many reference of this the Trapu, Swarna, Rajata, Tamra in the Samhitas. Where you come to Yajurveda, there is a quotation which says that the human blood contains the iron in it. And when you come to the Samavedas and Atharvana Veda, in Atharvana Veda you have many references regarding this Aushadis, Divya Aushadis used for both the Chikitsa as well as for the Vamachara. Vamachara is the evil spirit or the black magic, where the use of the Ratnas and Uparatnas have been said by Acharyas to get rid of the evil spirits. So, these are some of the references regarding the Vedic period. And when we come to the Samhita period, so mainly we have our Brihatrayis, the Charaka Samhita, Shushra Samhita, and Ashtanga Sangraha or Ashtanga Hridaya, what you can take. So in Ashtanga or in Charaka Samhita, we have the references regarding uh, the dhatus like Swarna, Rajata, Tamra used for the Jivha Lekana, and then you have the Basti Netras prepared out of this dhatus. And other than that, you have the references of the Kasisa, Tuttha, then Shilajatu, Manashila, and in the case of Anjana, he has explained in the Chikisastan, third chapter, where he explains about the use of the Anjana. And then you have the references of use of the Parada in case of Bastis. So in case of intussusception and all, the Acharyas have used the Parada because of its heavy weight. It was administered in the Basti, and due to the heavy weight, the intestinal coils were then which were embedded in each other, they were released. You have many such references regarding this Parada, then Kasisa, then Tuttha, then the Ratnas, Uparatnas, and then when you come across the Sushruta Samhitas, the use of the Ayaskritis and use of the Loha Rasayana, then use of the Phenashma, Gauri Pashana and Haratala, these are known as Dhatu Visha, and then you have the references of the Parada. It is used in the Varga, Shweta Rakta Chandana Paradadi, he says. So it's in a Varga he has included this. And then when you come across this Vagbhata, you have many references regarding the Swarna, Rajata, Tamra, Kasisa, Ratnas and Uparatnas. He has explained about the Pishtis and all. So for Chikitsa aspect. And later on you have the references regarding the Ayaskritis. So in the Sushruta Samhita itself, the first time the word Tamra Churna was used. Somewhere Acharya says that Tamra Churna is being used in Chikitsas, where we can claim that the concept of Bhasma was already emerging during the time of Sushruta Acharya itself. And later on, this Rashastra was found to be scattered in the Samhitas. So, from the 8th century itself, a different science emerged, which was the extended version of your Rasayana Chikitsa in Ashtanga or Ashtangas of Ayurveda. So, the use of this Manashila Rasayana, Shilajatu Rasayana, then you have use of the Sarnamakshika Rasayana. So, it indicates that somewhere this is an extended version of the Rasayana Chikitsa. Then coming to the basics, already I have said regarding this references and all, the Charaka, Shushruta and Vagbhata. So again, in the Arvachana Kalas, you had the Sampradayas, the different disciplines explained in the Shastra. You have the Siddha Sampradaya, you have the Natha Sampradaya, and the Siddha Sampradaya was famous in the South India, and Natha Sampradaya was very famous in the northern parts of India. Again, you have Kaula Sampradaya, where Kaula Sampradaya states that Kula is goddess Parvati and Akula is Lord Shiva. The combination of these both led to the Kaula Sampradaya, where these people are found of the Panchamakaras. They are not behind the dharma, they are not behind the mantra, tantra, yajna, japa, they are not behind the blessings of the guru. They believe in panchamakaras. Those are madhya, meena, mamsa, maithuna, and mudra. These are the panchamakaras which they follow, and they claim that these are the five things which will lead to the salvation. Hence, there are again two sampradayas. One is the mantra sampradaya and second is tantra sampradaya. The mantra sampradaya, they follow the japa, mams, japa, tapa, shaucha, and everything, satya, and everything. And but this tantra sampradayas, they don't believe in such righteousness. They will tell you, you can see the aghoris. So these are the tantra sampradayas. So they eat the food in the kapalika or in the skull of a human being, and they wear the mala or garland of the bones. So they are fit for uh, the siddhis. So you can see they are consuming the raw meat of the human body. So this is somewhere a different sort of the sampradayas which is still existing now. And then you have the uh, Navanathas, Adinatha, Meenanatha, Gorakhanatha, Konkaneshwaranatha. There are the 9 number of the Nathas which has been explained in the classics, and you have the 16 Siddhas like Chaurangi Siddha, the Charpati Siddha, Govinda Siddha, Rama Siddhas. So there are 16 Siddhas which has been explained in the Samhitas. And in the 8th century, again, this founder or the father of Rashastra is or the Nagarjuna Acharya, where he was a Vaidya, royal Vaidya, he was a philosopher, and then there are many Nagarjunas explained in the classics. So we can get more than 5 Nagarjunas in the classics, but related to Rashastra, we have only 2 Nagarjuna. One is Siddha Nagarjuna, and the second one is Bhikshu Nagarjuna. Siddha Nagarjuna is the Acharya whose date or his period can be assessed as the 8th century, and he was born in the Somnath in the Gujarat state, and where he has written many books like Rasarday Tantra, Rasaratnakara, Rasendra Mangala, then Kakshaputta Tantra, Yogasara, and Yoga Shatakas. So he was a royal physician and he was a chancellor in Nalanda University. Then you have the another Bhikshu Nagarjuna. Then he is said to be the author of the commentar on Shruta Samhita, where he was the advisor to King Shatavahana. He was a advisor, and then he was in a brief believer of Buddhism, and some of the authors claim that uh, the abode of Nagarjuna was the Nagarjuna Konda or Nalagonda, which is present in the Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh. While going to Srisailam, you can find this. And then coming to the Rasashala or Rasashastra, why, how, and why Rasashala should be built. Already I have said regarding this. Rasashala is the place where you're going to formulate the medicines. How this Rasashala should be and where it should be built. Already I have said regarding this. Atanka rahite deshe dharma rajye manorame Uma Maheshwaropete Samruddhe Nagareshuve Rasashalam Prakurvitam Sarvabhada Vivarjite Sarvaushadi Mayi Deshe Ramye Kupa Samanvite Yaksha Treksha Sahasraksham Digvibhage Sushobhite Nana Upakaranopetam Prakarena Sushobhitam. It is one of the shloka quoted by the Rasavagbhata in Rasaratna Samuchaya, 6th chapter, where he explains the selection of the place for building a Rasashala. He says, Atanka Rahite Deshe. This place should be free from the all sort of evil spirits and wild animals. It should be very safe. Dharma Rajya, all the people should be righteousness, or they should follow righteousness. And then Uma Maheshwaropete, all the people should be worshipping the Lord Shiva and Parvati. Samruddhe Nagare Shubhe, all sort of resources should be available easily in that particular environment or in the vicinity of that particular Rasashala. And Sarvoshadi Mayedeshe, all the herbal, then herbomineral as well as the metallic uh, ingredients should be easily available. Ramye Kupa Samanvite. Ramya is nothing but it should be very much pleasant. It should be pleasant means it should be uh, having garden and all. It should be wide in space. It should be well ventilated. Kupa Samanvite. So water resource, especially he says about well. And then Yaksha Treksha Sahasraksha Dig Vibhage Sushopite. Yaksha Treksha Sahasraksha is not your Rakshasas and all. Yaksha is the north direction where the Adhipati is Kubera. Treksha is the northeastern direction, and Sahasraksha is the place where the sun rises, that is the east. So your Rasashala should be built in such a way that the door should face either in Yaksha, that is in north direction, or else in the northeast direction, or else in the east direction. Digvibhage Sushobhite. It should be decorated, right? Decorated with the flower plants and the auspicious drugs like the Guduchi and all. Guduchi is having an mythological origin. Piyusha Binduha Sarve. So we says it is the Amrita Bindu which falls from the heaven, which turned into Guduchi. And then this is related to the space, how it should be built. Now we are going to talk in which direction we are going to build this Rasashala and what is the importance, what is the rationality behind. In the books you may study that Rasashala should be built facing the east direction, but what is the rationality? Everyone is asking for evidence based medicine, so we also want evidence based science. No doubt that all the samhitas, all the literature available for the Ayurveda stream are 100% evident. So we ourselves are unable to grasp it. It doesn't mean that those are not evident. Those are really evident, but because of our thinking capacity or limited thinking capacity, we are unable to grasp it. So again a quotation from Rasaratna Samuchaya 7th chapter where he says, Shalayam Purvadik Bhage Stapayet Rasabhairavam Vannikarmani Chagneyam Yame Pashana Karmacha Nairute Shastra Karmecha Varune Kshalanadikam Shoshanam Vayukonecha Veda Karma Uttare Tatha Stapayet Siddha Vastuna Prakuryat Ishana Konake. So he explains different sort of procedures to be undertaken in particular directions, and 100% sure that there is a rationality which I am going to tell you today. So in the east direction, Stapayet Rasabhairavam, there should be the a temple or you should place a Rasalingu in the east direction of the pharmacy. The reason is east direction is considered as more auspicious one, and the sun rises in the east. So whenever you are doing any sort of procedures, so first the first sun rays or the first sun rays should fall on you, which will make you shuchi, which will make you pavitra, as well as because of this intense heat and all, the microbes, it will act as antimicrobial. So this Bhaskara is having a capacity to remove all the minute microbes in the air. Hence, to protect your Rashala, to protect your procedure, and to protect the Rasavaidya himself, he should sit in facing to the Lord Rudra, that is to be instilled in the Purva Bhaga of your Rasashala. Then Vanni Karmani Chagniyam. So in the southeast direction, so east direction is Rasa Bhairava, then southeast direction is your Agni Karma. Agni Karma is the procedures where you're going to boil the kashayas, boil the tailas, heat the uh, avalehas and all. Why Agni is? Because Agni is the Adhipati of this particular direction. Because the air, the wind will be very much low in this uh, area, so that you can concentrate on the flame of the fire. So intense amount of heat or good amount of heat can be reached to your formulations when you are preparing. So hence this Agniya is the suitable place for the Agni karmas. Then you have Yame Pashana Karmacha. This Yame is nothing but Dakshina or the south, and the south is the best place for the Yama. The Dikpalaka of Dakshina or south place is Yama. Hence, the procedure like Pashana Karma. So, Kuttana Karma and all, use of this, the Khalva yantras and all, you can do in this particular Dakshina Dish. And then Nairutya Shastra Karmecha, chopping of the uh, herbs with the sharp instruments. So Shastra Karma, using of Shastra Karma should be done in Nairitya Karma, because this Nairitya Disha or this southwest direction is the abode of the Asuras. Hence, these Asuras are always using the Shastras. Hence, this is this area is left up for the Shastra Karma. And then Varunik Shalanadikam. Varuna is nothing but your west direction, and this west direction is suitable for the Prakshalana Karma, for washing all the instruments, for washing the herbs, because of the abundant availability of the water in west direction, because the Adipati of this Varuna Desha is Varuna, the lord of water. And then Shoshanam Vayu Konecha. So northwest direction is best for drying of the herbs. Shoshanam Vayu Konecha. So you are preparing vati, you want to dry it under shade, you keep in Varuna Disha, because Varuna is sorry, the Vayu Kona. So Shoshanam Vayu Konecha. This Vayu Kona is best for drying procedures, because Vayu is Pravala, or he is prominent or predominant in that particular direction, that is northward direction. And Veda Karma Uttare Tata. Veda is nothing but it is the procedure of transmitting the lower metals into higher metals. So all the Parada procedures are to be done in Uttara Disha, which is known as Veda Karma. Any sort of Jarana, Murchana, if you are doing, the best direction is your Uttara Disha or north direction. The main reason is the Adipati of this north direction is Kubera. Kubera is meant for the wealth. Hence, if you want to attain or achieve good wealth and prosperity in your life, so you have to do the procedures like Vedana Karma in the Uttara Disha itself. Sthapaye Siddha Vastunam Prakuryat Ishana Konake. So Ishana Konaka, or the northeast direction, in this northeast direction, the Adipati is Lord Rudra or Shiva, and Shiva is the person who is known as God. God is G for generator, O for operator, and D for destroyer. So Srishti, Sthiti, and Laya is total in the head of Lord Shiva or Rudra. Hence, this northeast direction is kept for the storing of the finished products. Sthapaye Siddhavastunam. Siddhavastu are the finished products. Why? Because Rudra is concerned with protecting the environment. The same thing, the Rudra will also protect your formulations. So he will check that the efficiency or efficacy of your drugs are increased. There are no any sort of untoward effects of your drug. So this is the main karma of Rudra. Hence, you have to keep this Siddhavastus in the direction of the Ishana Kona. Then coming to the, you have studied regarding the Rasacharyas. So you have studied regarding Rasashala, where it should be built, why it should be built, and how it should be built. So then, what are the components of Rasashastra now, or Rasashala? Who are the people who will be in Rasashala? So first one is you people, those are the Rasacharyas. One who are working on the Parada are known as Rasacharyas or Rasavaidya. And then you have the Shishyas, whom you are going to preach this Rasa Shastra. You have Paricharaka, attender, you have Kalinistri, and you have all the Upakaranas or all the equipments which are pertaining to the formulations of the drugs. So Acharyas have given some of the Lakshanas. So what are the Lakshanas of the Rasa Acharya, then Shishya, Kalinistri? Everything will be discussing one by one. So you may ask, so there is a quotation called as Chikitsa Upayoga. So Kwachit Dharma, Kwachit Maitri, Kwachit Artha, Kwachit Desha, Karmabhyasa Kwachit Cheti, Chikitsa Nasti Nishfalaha. So Chikitsa will either give you money, will either bestow you happiness, will either bestow you righteousness, then will give you friends. If not, it will give you a good experience. So you may ask, see, you are not clear regarding the siddhis or the Rashastra. You are not able to convert it normal matter or the precise matter into precious matter. So what we can become in the future? So Vadabrashtaha Vaidya Sreshtaha. If a person who has become the Vadabrashta, who has not uh, attained any sort of siddhis in converting this or in the who has not attained any sort of success in the Dhatuvada, surely he will attain siddhi in Chikitsavada. He will become a best Vaidya. So coming to the Lakshan of Rasacharya, how a Rasa Guru should be. The person who will be teaching you Shastra, what are the qualities he should be bestowed with or he should be present with. Acharya Jnanavan Daksho Rasashastra Visharadaha Mantrasiddho Mahaviro Nishchala Shivavatsalah Devi Bhakta Sadadiro देवता यागतत्परः सर्वाम्नाय विशेषज्ञ कुशलो रसकर्मणि एवं लक्षणैर संयुक्तो रसविद्या गुरुर्भवेत्. This is a beautiful quotation given by Rasavagbhata in Rasaratna Samuchaya 7th chapter, where he says, sorry, 6th chapter, where he explains. So Acharya Jnanavan Dakshaha. Acharya should be well versed in both theoretical as well as in the practical approach or in the aspects. Acharya Jnanavan Dakshaha. Jnanavan. He should be alert. Dakshaha. So he should know what is the future tendency of this Parada. If I am going for the Jarana, Murchana, what will be the procedures or what will be the changes which will be occurring. So while you are working in the chemistry lab and all, you are mixing some of the chemicals and suddenly it bursts out. So it indicates that you are not attentive and you are not daksha there. So Acharya should be having a clear knowledge regarding this, the chemical reactions, what are going to be taken in the future. Rasa Shastra Visharada, he should be very much scholar or he should be a scholar, Visharadaha. Mantra Siddhaha, he should have Siddhi over the mantras. In the olden, you may have seen they are telling a mantra and they are giving you medicine, and it shows a good sort of results. So he should have siddhi on the mantra. And then Mahaviraha, he should be brave, he should be courageous. Nischalaha, he should be attentive. Shiva Vatsalaha, Shiva Vatsala is he should uh, worship Lord Shiva, and Devi Bhaktaha, he should worship goddess Parvati. Kushalo Rasakarmani, he should be uh, eminent or proficient in performing the practicals of Rasa Shastra. Kushalo Rasakarmani, in the Rasakarmas, he should have a good sort of knowledge. So these are some of the lakshanas which guru should have who is teaching Rasa Shastra. So Shishyas, how you people should be, how a Shishya who is learning Rasa Shastra, so what are the qualities which should the person, which the student should have. So he is expected to have the qualities like Guru Bhaktaha, Sadacharaha, Satyavantaha, Dhradavrata, Niralasya Swadharmajna, Sadajna Paripalakaha, Dambha Matsarya Nirmukta, Kulacharyeshu Dikshita, Atyanta Sadhaka Shantaha, Mantraradhana Tatparaha, Ityeva Lakshane Dikta, Shishyasuhu Suta Siddhaye. So, if a person or a student who wants to have Siddhi over this Suta or Parada, how he should be? Guru Bhaktaha, he should have devotion towards Lord Shiva as well as towards his Guru. Then Sadacharaha, so he should be having the righteousness. So he should be very noble. Satyavantaha, he should speak the truth always. Dhradavrataha, he should have a good intention or interest in what he is studying. Then Niralasyaha, he should not be lazy. He should be very active. Swadharmajnaha, so dharma is not a religion here. For him, the Rasa Shastra itself is a dharma. So he should understand what dharma is. What is my dharma being a student? Sada Ajna Paripalakaha, he should be obedient. Dambha Matsarya Nirmuktaha, Dambha is nothing but a sort of wickedness. Matsaryaha, he should not possess jealousy. Kulacharyeshu Dikshitaha, so he should be from Uttama Kula, means he should be of, we can't take as Kula here, but he should be of having a good background. Background it indicates that he should be refraining from the Dashavida Papa Karmas. Then Atyanta Sadhakaha, so he should have a zeal of achieving something in his life. Atyanta Sadhakaha. Shantaha, he should be very polite. Mantra Aradhana Tatparaha, so he should have a great belief in mantra and tantras. Mantra Aradhana Tatparaha. Then Iteva Lakshane Dukta Shishyasu Suta Siddhaye. So these are the Lakshanas which Shishyas should have, is expected to have when a Shishya is learning Rasa Shastra. Then you have Paricharaka or attendant. How a Paricharaka should be. Sodhyama Shutaya Shura Balishta Paricharakaha. Again, the shloka from Rasaratna Samuchaya, or yes, Rasaratna Samuchaya, where he explains Sodhyamaha. The Paricharaka should be, should have the interest in working. So whatever procedure the person is doing, like either he or she may be doing the bhavana or shodhana, they should have the utmost dedication in the work. Sodhyamaha, suchayaha, they should be clean physically as well as mentally. So they should be very clean. And shuraha, so they should have the courage in dealing with all the parda procedures. Balishtaha, so physically they should be strong because already you are experienced regarding the weight of the kalva yantras and all in your colleges. So those are heavy. So they should have a good sort of physical health. So where they can lift this the khalvantras very easily. So these are some of the lakshanas uh, in pertaining to the paricharaka or the attendant. Later on, you have the reference of Kalinistri. So in Rasratna Samuchaya again you have the references of Kalinistri like Yasyastu Kunchita Keshaha Shamaha Padmalochanaha Surupaha Tarunihi Vidnaha Vistiranaha Jagana Shubha. So there are again Yoni or Ashwata Sadrisha Yonihi, everything you have where they explain regarding how a Kalini Stri should be. So Kunchita Keshaha should have long hairs, curly hairs, and then Padmalochana, whose eyes will look like the Padma or lotus, and then you have Surupaha, she should be very attractive, Tarunihi, she should be of young age, then Vistirana Jaganaha, her pubic area should be widened. So what is the necessary or necessity of this Kali Nistri in the Rasashala? So as we go on screening the various texts, we can come to a conclusion why this lady should be in the pharmacy or the Rasashala is just to check the mental stability of the Rasavaidya. Because already we have discussed regarding this Nishchalaha Shiva Vatsalaha, how a guru or the Rasacharya should be Nishchalaha. So despite or in spite the lady being present in the Rasashala, he should not get distracted towards the other thing. To check his mental status or stability, this Kali Nistri is to be appointed in the Rasashala. Over to that, the main important thing is she is considered Sreshta in doing the Rasayana Karma and Parada Bandha. Hence, this Kalinistri should be appointed in the Rasashala. And this ends regarding the Rasashala and the basics. And one more important thing is your Adharbhuta Siddhantas of Rasashastra. So, as you go on screening your question papers, you can find the first question, either it will be a 15 marks, 11 marks, or 10 marks uh, based on your examination pattern. So, this Adharbhuta Siddhanta of Rashastra and Vaisheshika Kalpana are very important. So, when you come across this Adharbhuta Siddhantas, so the Adharbhuta Siddhanta of Rashastra are different and Vaisheshika Kalpana are different. And when you come across the Adharbhuta Siddhantas of the Rashastra, Adharbhuta Siddhantas are nothing but the fundamental principles. So already I have said regarding the when you are studying algebra, you have your logarithm table, you have your formulas, a plus b the whole square, a square plus 2ab plus b square. So this same set of the principles we are also having, every science is having. So Rashastra also have some of the fundamental principles which includes Paribhasha, then Shodhana, Marana, Sattapatana, Dhriti, then Bhavana, then you have your Puta, and then you have the Bhasma, Bhasma Pariksha, Amritikarana, Lohitikarana, Mana Paribhasha, Dravya Sangraha and everything. So what is Paribhasha? In the next class we will be studying regarding the Paribhasha. We will start with the Paribhasha itself. So today we will be just discussing the superficial part of this Paribhasha and all. Paribhasha Nigudanukta Leshokta Sandigdhartha Pratipika Sunishchitartha Vibudehi Paribhasha Nigadyate. In this Paribhasha we are going to study the glossaries or abbreviations in studying a science. So when I go to Rashastra, if I call Rasa, Rasa denotes Parat. When I am studying Sahitya, Rasa means the Sringara Rasa. When I am studying the Ahara Vidhi, if Rasa, it includes your Rasa Dhatu. When I am studying Dravya Guna, Rasa means Niryasa or the taste of the particular drug. So in every context, the same word is used for different meanings. So again it causes a sort of ambiguous or it creates a sort of confusion. Hence, this is what the paribhasha is. It's a glossary or it is the terms, it is the specific words used in particular discipline to have the knowledge regarding the complete science. So what is the necessity of your paribhasha is paribhasha adhyayam ado yo adhite rasasadakah rasatantra vijnanam cha na vimuhyati kutrachit. He says a person who is having a zeal or who is having uh, he is having an interest to study this Rashastra, if he has the good knowledge regarding the paribhasha, he will not find any sort of difficulty in reading or understanding this Rasa Shastra. So these are very important. In the first sloka already I said, Niguda Anukta Leshokta, Niguda. So what is Niguda here? Niguda is very the hidden meaning. So I will tell, prepare a medicine, give the bhavana for 3 times. If I have not said, so I have not said what actually to be taken. If I say prepare uh, or prepare a medicine out of Guduchi, Haridra, Nimba, I have not said in what form it should be taken. It's Niguda. So the best form will be your the Churna form if you are preparing Vati. And if you are preparing Kvata, it should be in Yavakuta form. So Niguda. Anukta. And I'll say give the bhavana for 3 times. I have not explained the bhavana dravyas. So Anukta, I have not explained. So the bhavana dravya will be Jala. Leshokta, partially I have said, partially I have not said. I said only give the bhavana with Jala. For how many times? Partially I have said give the bhavana with water, but I have not said that for how many times. Then you have to consider as 1 yama or 3 hours or 1 prahara. Leshokta. Sandigdhartha. Sandigdhartha is, example is best, example is Saindhava. When I am doing any Rashastra procedure, I'll tell you bring Saindhava, so you will bring Lavana. And Saindhava is again a synonyms of Hayaha, Ashvaha, Saindhavaha. So horse is also known by the name of Saindhava. And if I am going somewhere uh, and I'm going somewhere outside of the station and I want to go by horse riding, and if I say bring me Saindhava, you can't bring salt at that time. Saindhava there it means the horse. This is what Sandigdhartha Pradipikaha. Sunishchitartha Vibhudihi Paribhasha Nigadyate. The one which will give you the Sunishchitartha, the correct knowledge, is known as Paribhasha. So this is what Paribhasha is. Then Shodhana. Shodhana is the procedure where you are going to nullify the toxic effect of the drugs. Tadeva Shodhanam Karmam Dravya Dosha Nivaranam. उद्दिष्टैर औषधैर सार्ध्यम क्रियते पेषणादिकं मल विचित्तयेतु शोधनम तद इह उच्यते. So द्रव्य दोष निवारणम, to make your drug devoid of the toxic elements or untoward effects, the procedure what you are applying is known as shodhana. Example is your Hingula Shodhana by giving bhavana in Ardraka Swarasa or Nimbu Swarasa. Shodhana of Mukta by the procedure called as the Svedana in Dola Yantra with Jayanti or Agastya Patra Swarasa. Vatsanabha Shodhana is Khandikruto Vatsanabha Potali Garbha Samsitaha Ajadugdena Samsvino Shuddhimapniyat. So Yamataha Shuddhimapniyat he says. So you are going to cut this Vatsanabha into pieces and you are going to place it in Gomutra for 3 hours or 3 days or 7 days, and then the other procedure is prepare a potli and do the Svedana in Ajadugda. So these are some of the procedures. These are the Shodhana technique. So why Shodhana is required? Shodhana is the procedure which makes your drug devoid of toxic elements. It facilitates the next procedure, that is the Marana procedure. It increases the efficacy of your drug. It increases the rate of assimilation of your drug. It increases the proper action on particular targeted areas. So these are some of the benefits of Shodhana. Why Shodhana is important? You may say that Shodhana means only remove the toxic elements, not at all. So there are many attributes of Shodhana. Then you have Marana. So Shodhitan Lohadhatwadin Vimarja Swarasadibihi Agni Samyogato Bhasmikaranam Maranam Smritam. Marana, Mriyateti Maranaha, the one which will be going to kill your dhatu or element is known as Marana. Bhasmikaranam Maranam Smritam. To make a metal into Bhasma is known as Marana. But condition applies Shodhitan Lohadhatwadin Vimarja Swarasadibihi. So you should do the Shodhana of the particular dhatu, and then you have to make Churnikarana out of it. You have to give Bhavana, you have to prepare Chakrikas, you have to give Putta, and then by multiple Puttas you can turn it into a Bhasma form. So this is what Shodhitan Lohadhatwadin Vimarja Swarasadivi Agni Samyogato Bhasmikaranam Maranam Smritam. So this is what and coming to the concept of Putta, Yantra, Musha, Koshti, and then Bhasma Parikshas. We'll be discussing superficially today, and in the concerned topics, I'll be elaborately explaining you people regarding this. So, Yantra, Svedadi Karma Nirmartum, Vatikindre Prayatnataha, Raso Niyantrate Tasmad Yantram Smritam. Very beautiful quotation. The instruments or the apparatus which you are using for holding of parada, for the samskara of parada, is known as yantra. Svedadi karmas, the media through which you are going to process the mercury by Svedadi karmas, is known as yantra. It may be Ghata yantra, Kachapa yantra, Tula yantra, Palika yantra, Svedani yantra, Malla. So these are different sort of yantras. So Valuka yantra you have. So these are the yantras which we will be discussing in the concept of yantras. And then you have your Musha, Mushnati Doshan, Mushayan, Sa Musheti Nigadyati. These are the crucibles which are made to remove the blemishes from the dhatus or from the aushadhis. Mushnati Doshan, Mushayan, Sa Musheti Nigadyati. Then you have your Putta, Rasadi Dravya Pakanam, Pramanam, Jnapanam Putam, Neshto Nunyadika Paka, Supakam Hitam Oshad. So the procedure of Agni Samyoga to the Rasadi Dravyas to convert it into a medicine or a potent medicine is known as Putta. Again, there are Nishtapaka, Nunapaka, and Supaka, which will be explaining during the time of the concept of Putta. And then you have your Koshti. So the concept of Koshti is nothing but the heating appliances which you are going to use for processing the Paradadi dhatus, where Sattvanam Patanarthaya Patitanam Vishuddhaye Koshtika Vividakaraha, he says. The next shloka is Lakshanam Tasya Vakshate. So he is saying that I am going to explain this Lakshanas henceforth. But what is this? Sattvanam Patanarthaya Patitanam Vishuddhaye. To remove the sattva. So whatever heat appliances you are using to take out the sattva, to extract the sattva, is termed as the koshti. Patitanam Vishuddhaye or Patitanam Vishuddhaye. The one which has been extracted, to purify those extract, the Agni what is required, or the instrument what is required to give the Agni, is known as the koshti. And Vividakaraha, he says koshtis are available in different shapes and sizes. Lakshanam Tasya Vakshate. Then next you have Bhasma and Bhasma Parikshas. So there is a separate book by the name Bhasma Vijnaniyam, written by a renowned Rasashastra scholar Harisharananda Sharma ji or Harisharananda Vaidya ji. where he explains almost all sort of the dhatu bhasmas along with the apakva bhasma sevana janya vikara tasya shantihi. So what happens if you are consuming apakva bhasma seva or apakva bhasmas? What are the lakshanas which we can counteract and how to deal with those dhatu vishas? So everything has been said by Acharya Harisharanananda Sharma ji, and then you have the 9 to 10 bhasma parikshas. So Nishchandratvam, so you have Nirasaha, then you have Dantagri Kachakacha Nabhavaha, then Varitaratva, Rekha Purnatva, then you have Amladhadi Pariksha, you have Unnama or Uttama Pariksha. In some of the text it is given as Uttama, but it is Unnama Pariksha. And then, so there are different sort of the parikshas to assess the bhasmas. Nowadays you have the criteria like AS, atomic absorption spectroscopy, Fourier transmission infrared, FTIR, you have XRD, X-ray diffraction, XRF, X-ray fluorescence. So based on that you are going to assess the sukshmata or the nanoparticle of the size of that bhasmas. But in the olden days, acharyas used these parameters to assess the bhasmas. So what is Rekha Purnatva? So if you are going to, so he says, Angushtam Tarjani Grishtam. If you are going to take bhasma in between to your fingers, you are just going to rub with your Angushta and Tarjani. So you are going to rub this bhasma in between your fingers, and if this bhasma gets saturated in the verge of your finger or the facets of your finger, then it indicates that this is a sukshma bhasma which can be used for medications. Then varitaratva. Take water and you sprinkle some amount of bhasmas over the surface of water. If your bhasma is devoid of any metallic property, it will float on the water. If not, the bhasma will sink inside the water. So this is what the pariksha given by acharyas. Then place a sort of pinch of the aushadhi in on your tongue to taste it. If you get the taste, then if you get the taste, then it indicates that the bhasma is not prepared properly. Then again you have to go for bhavana and then the marana. So if you are not getting any sort of taste, it is aswadu or nirasa, then it is a best quality of bhasma. Then you have Nishchandratva. Just take a pinch of bhasma on your palm and then you add a drop of water, you rub it and you see under the sun. And if you see some sort of the shining particles or sparkles in between that bhasma, it indicates that it is retaining the metallic property. So this is not properly prepared bhasma. Discard it and use a different bhasma or just go with the other procedures like bhavana and marana again here. Then you have your dantagre kachakacha anubhava. You just take a pinch of the bhasma, you just eat it and you just try to masticate it or just try to chew it. And if you don't hear the crackling sound, so it indicates that your bhasma is properly prepared. And if it is retaining any sort of the metallic properties, then again you'll have the cracking sound in between your teeth. Niruttatva. Niruttatva is use of the silver coin and mix your bhasma with the mitra panchakas or the madhu, apply it over the silver coin and then you give the putta. Prior to it, this silver coin should be weighed. So example, you have a silver coin which is 10 grams. You are taking 2 grams of bhasma and you are applying on it and you are giving putta. Later on, when you are checking the weight of the silver coin, if the silver coin weight is 10 kgs, then it indicates that your silver coin has not formed any alloy with the metallic property or the metallic particle of the bhasma, because no metallic particle is present in the bhasma in the metallic form. It is totally converted into ashes, into oxide forms. If in second case, if the silver coin gains a weight, the initial weight was 10 grams and the next weight you got is 11.1 or 11.2 grams. So from where did the 1.1 gram came into excess? That is nothing but the metallic part from the bhasma. So it indicates that bhasma is not prepared. And you may ask me, why only silver coins? Why can't we use another coins? The reason is silver has the best property to form the alloy. Hence, silver coin is used. Then Amla Daji Pariksha. It is meant for the drugs which contains copper. You can just check it at your home. You just take a copper vessel and add dadhi or curd to it. So you can see the greenish tinge over the dadhi. So this copper is going to react with the sour substance of the dadhi. So this is what the same thing applied in the bhasma also. If you are preparing tamra bhasma, you have to give a pinch of the copper or tamra bhasma or this dadhi. If it shows the tinge of green color, it indicates that copper is still present in the metallic form. If not, then your bhasma is prepared fine and you can use for the procedures. And one more extended version of Varitaratva. Already I said, take the bhasma and sprinkle it over the water, and if the bhasma it floats over the water, then it indicates that it doesn't include any sort of the metallic nature. The same thing, you have to place a grain of wheat or rice over this bhasma, and if the grain sinks inside the water, it indicates that the metallic element or the metallic form of the bhasma is present. And if this grain it floats along with the bhasma on the surface of water, it indicates that bhasma is formed correctly and you have a green signal to use for your further procedures. So later on we'll be discussing the particular sessions regarding this. In the tomorrow's session, we'll start with the Paribhasha Prakarana. In that, we are not only going to learn about the what is Paribhasha, so what is Dhanvantari Bhaga, why, what is Rudra Bhaga, but we'll learn regarding the practical approach of this Dhanvantari Bhaga, Rudra Bhaga, and what is the Dhatu Varga, what is Kshara Varga, what is Lavana Panchaka, what is Panchamritika, what is Panchagavya, where it is going to be applied, what is the practical applicability of this, the dravyas which has been said in the Paribhasha, we'll be discussing tomorrow. By this, I'll wind up today. Thank you one and all.